Hi, my name is Michael Levy, and this is my presentation for A635, Public School Accounting and Finance with Professor Little at Indiana University. Today my presentation is going to be one that we would potentially address towards a school board, the business, the business committee at our district. We might also address this directly to a capital funds projects committee and also to our athletic booster club at our high school. So what we're talking about today is essentially, and you can kind of follow along with the PowerPoint in front of me here, is we're looking to find the funds to build a new press box for our athletic stadium. A quick little history. Last year, we put a lot of effort into our athletic facilities. Money was raised through a number of capital outlay projects. A bond measure, parcel tax money was coming in. In addition, there was private funds raised as well through the Booster Club, and all that money came together and allowed for some pretty great renovations. But at the last second, some of those renovations were cut and altered from the original plan. And we're going to kind of discuss that in a few minutes. But in order to kind of understand this, we need to look at sort of why this project should be undertaken. And the first thing we want to look at is whether we need to do this or we want to do this. And I think that we could say that we want this for aesthetic purposes. We want to improve the complexion of our stadium and how it looks and sort of the general quality of our athletic facility. But in addition, we also really need it for a number of different reasons. And so what we're going to look at here is what we do need it for. The first thing is, if we're thinking long-term budget efficiency, that's one area where we could really use this improvement, and I'll discuss in a few minutes sort of the details of how this creates a more efficient fiscal model for our athletic department, building this press box. In addition, safety. Safety is a big issue. It aligns with Standard 3 of the California Professional Standards for educational leaders, and that has to do with providing a safe environment for all faculty and all students. And so we're going to discuss the safety measures, and then of course there's an issue of sort of competitive use and inequity with other schools and other facilities that have these types of structures, and what that gives us, and how this can give our students help in multiple sports. It can assist us with giving some competitive edge and competitive equity with other programs. Using the press box, it gives student feedback. It improves the student feedback that we can give to our players and our athletes on the field. It provides proper filming angles. It also provides an upgrade to the stadium, an upgraded press box that could bring in more media and provide our school and our district and our student athletes with more media exposure, which of course can help them in achieving things like potentially college opportunities to play athletics, as well as helping our school sort of achieve that status. So if we look here into the next slide, we're going to look at the practicalities of moving away from the system that we use now, which is the use of hydraulic lifts, or temporary hydraulic lifts that actually raise people up essentially into the sky so that we can get proper filming angles and we can watch our games from proper angles. So putting in a press box is going to save us about $150 to $300 a week that we spend renting these lifts each week. Football season is at least 10 weeks for multiple levels, lower levels and varsity levels. And then in addition, soccer, lacrosse, boys soccer, girls lacrosse, girls lacrosse, and all the other sports that use our facility. So we're looking at about a bit more than $3,000 per year that we're spending on these hydraulic lifts. So getting rid of that and getting to a stable full-time press box would definitely give us a financial boost there. In addition, the safety issue, again, aligning with Standard 3 of the California Professional Standards for Educational Leaders. What we have now are two options. One is the hydraulic lift, which I'm going to talk about in a second. There's a freestanding structure that's currently there that we've been banned from using the last 4 to 5 years. Due to the instability of the structure. We call it the bird's nest. It's essentially a tower that sort of sits freestanding, and it's been deemed to be too dangerous for people to go into. It's no longer stable. In addition, it was infested with beehives, and people sustained some injuries from that. I think it was about 4 to 5 years ago, so it's been shut down. Then we switched over to the hydraulic lift situation. Those hydraulic lifts bring their own safety concerns. If anybody remembers back in 2010 at the University of Notre Dame in Indiana, student managers were sent up on the lifts in some inclement weather, 50-mile-an-hour winds. The coach and athletic director seemingly used some extremely poor judgment in sending these student managers up to film the practices, which is very regular occurrence, both for us at the high school level and at the college level. We want to get those filming angles. Well, at Notre Dame, the weather knocked the lift over, and the young man died. And the school, the University of Notre Dame, was actually fined $77 million by the state of Indiana in that case. So what we're looking at here is not, I mean, we're looking at safety, but we're also looking at avoiding potential liability. We're looking at the reality that if there was an accident, what would our school and district be looking at? $77 million from a small school district like us could potentially send us into a place financially that I don't think we could survive. So we're looking at surviving potential liability, but we're looking at fiscal safety, but we're also looking at practical safety. And as the coach myself, who actually goes up in the lift every Friday night, there are nights when it's windy and it's cold up there and it's uncomfortable, and there are moments when we do feel that there's some safety concern and that it is somewhat sketchy. And so we've been invested in renting the more expensive lifts to try to give us a wider base, make it a little safer, but again, then we're increasing the cost each week as well. So we're also, in addition, we're improving the experience for spectators to sort of come and enjoy watching the games. Currently, the press and our announcers sit sort of in the middle of our bleacher section. It limits the amount of student and public seating there, which would be nice to get them out of that space and then up into their own press box space. If we go ahead and move along into this next slide, we'll see that this is actually a relatively easy undertaking to install. There's no demolition required. There's no additional space that needs to be accounted for. It would be installed in the space that's already essentially there, which would be the top of our bleachers. There's numerous options and potential bidders that we could look at. I'm going to link us to a couple sites in a few minutes that'll show us what this may actually look like. But we're looking at $40,000 to $90,000 as the base estimate, but what we'd really be looking at when we look closer is about $70,000 to $80,000 for the actual press box, prefabricated press box that could be easily installed. If we any additional costs would only be adding some cement at the bottom to make sure that it would be installed properly. Overall cost would be about $86,500. The money could easily come from last year's capital projects fund that we talked about earlier, which is a combination of building fund, capital facilities fund, bond refunding authority, and the special reserve fund, which we've kind of have here printed out. And you kind of take a look into this next slide a little bit, and you'll see that we'd estimated last year $4.85 million was allocated to redo the athletic fields last year, and we only spent $2.3 million, which means that there are $2.55 million remaining in that fund that could be used. So we could build this press box for $86,500 and still have over 70% of our funds left over for additional renovations and additional facilities management. I'm going to show you real quick a link to sort of what it would look like. So this would be the type of press box we'd be looking at, prefabricated. They will build it off-site, bring it to our school, and install it. This is what the essential blueprint would look like. We have a lot of options for amenities, but again, we estimate about $86,650. We could very well come in under that, which would be great. So again, this is that money. The money that's allocated has to be spent on facilities improvement as part of this fund. And again, there is $2.55 million remaining in that fund. So $86,650 to make our school safer, to improve the cosmetic look of it, and to benefit our long-term fiscal efficiency. I think is well worth the investment. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.